Ever thought about doing stand-up? Well, okay. Well, I mean, like, there's a little... Let me give you the micro story, okay? In university, my friend and I did stand-up at an open mic one night because we were like, how hard could it be? And then the first... We gave ourselves 24 hours to write material, which was a curse to begin with. Like, that is not nearly enough time. I got on stage with an absolute... Just a set dripping with venom towards the elderly, and essentially got heckled off the stage before I produced even a single laugh. He got on stage and wholesale ripped off the Tenacious D bit about cock push-ups, literally right down to the punchline being exactly the same, and received uproarious laughter, applause that I've never heard before in my entire life, and like people after the set were buying him drinks and stuff like that. I was fucking livid. But then we did it again like 2 weeks later, and the script was flipped. I got some laughs with original material, I might add, that I don't recall. And then he met crickets, just complete silence from the audience during his set. And then we never did it again. But honestly, I like watching some stand-up, but it is hard for me to shake the idea that in 2022, the amount of artifice that surrounds it is just kind of humorous, right? I know we've said this before, so I apologize, but it seems weird to like buy a ticket and then be like, I'm so excited to like watch this guy get on stage and tell lies for 40 minutes. Like it just seems like you need... I'm not saying that the stand-up comedian should only tell stories that really happened, but like, why do we engage in this shared delusion that's like the only way I can laugh is if the comedian makes up a story that allows them to reach this punchline? Like, that just seems a little bit... It's just kind of weird. It's just it's a strange format that we all agreed like this is how comedy is meant to be delivered. It's to set up a bit, isn't it? Yeah, but that doesn't strike you as like a little strange? That, like, in order for this guy to make his point, like, first he's got to tell an insane lie about, like, how some lady was mean to him at the car rentals counter. You do it all the time? Yeah, but I was born in the 80s, so, like, what do you expect? Like, I'm a slave to the format. It's the era I grew up in. I just thought, you know, the future generation would be making something better by now. And they did. It's called Inside. But anyway... I do like some stand-up comedians. I'm not anti-stand-up. While I was in bed a lot over the past couple of days, I rewatched all the Tom Segura specials on Netflix. I find him very funny. But I will, and again, maybe this is like too much of like this is like a forehead comment, but like the things I like the least about the Tom Segura's stand-up specials is when he was like, this happens to me like once a month at hotels. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. Okay, instead of making up the story, can't you just be like, hey, I like thought of a funny joke in my head? Imagine there was a guy that like did this. I would be like, oh man, if that guy existed, that would be really funny. But that's basically what they're doing. But instead of doing that, they're like, you know, I was at the budget car rental kiosk the other day, and there was a guy, and I swear to God, he was doing the thing that I imagined that a guy was doing. And wouldn't it be funny if it happened? But now I'm pretending it really exists. And then it's like, in the audience, they're like, everybody knows a guy that is kind of like that, but not exactly, because this exact guy doesn't really exist. But if he did, it would be this guy that I know. I'm not following this. We're deep in the comedy tubes right now, okay? I mean, I'm not saying it would be the guy at a stand-up show that is like, you know, that didn't happen. You know, you sign like a contract when you show up. That's like, just so you know, the person on stage is going to be telling some white lies in order to get to their meandering punchlines that maybe make you laugh or make you think a little bit. You know, you got to suspend your disbelief slightly, which is fine. I mean, again, it doesn't have to be true to be funny. Like, for example, Chib's statement, wait, wasn't Denzel Washington that U.S. president who got killed? That's not a true statement, but it is very funny. Comedies, it's weird, man. Like, things that make you laugh is very strange. I still think one of the best off-the-cuff jokes I ever made is that, like, you know, all millennial jokes they're like 17 paragraphs long, and they start with like a premise that you agree upon, and then they end at some like ridiculous punchline hedged in wordplay or something like that. And then every Zoomer joke is like a jar of peanut butter, but they switch the P and the B, so it says peanut butter. The peanut butter just coming in off the top of the dome piece was like, that was a moment of divine inspiration for me. And just to be clear, I think peanut butter is like way funnier than like the average millennial humor, which is like there's like two millennial jokes I see all the time on Twitter that piss me off. One of them is and they both have the same format, and the format is why they piss me off. They pretend to be real stories or like essays. So they'll make like 17, like 1 of 17. You won't believe that this really happened to me today. And then at the end of it, it turns out they rug pull you, and it was all just a meandering way to get to like a single pun. Fucking kill me. And then the doctor said, well, that's it for all intensive purposes. And I was and then the other one is I apologize to the millennials, by the way, because I am one of you, allegedly. At least in age, if not in spirit. The other one is endless quote tweets, where like somebody will make a quote tweet, and their text will be like, this is so true. And then the thing that they quote tweeted will say like this. So much this. So then you click on the thing that they quote tweeted to see what they're saying so true to. And then it's a quote tweet of a quote tweet that's like, so much this. Oh my God, someone finally gets it. And it's like an endless quote tweet chain of like hundreds of idiots over and over just going like so much this just to like irritate you. And you're like, wow, it's hilarious. It's about as funny as when like, you know, the marketing intern accidentally uses CC instead of BCC, so like everybody gets to see everybody else's email address, and then you start getting reply all by like the most annoying people on the planet. LOL, somebody losing day job for this one. Who did this? LOL. Hilarious. Hey millennials, fuck you. No more bullshit. Based. What kind of humor is It's Morbin time? I don't know, man, but I still find it slightly humorous at the very least. I find it very funny that they have to like... Dude, you know, have you seen all the hand-wringing online about the teens going to see Minions in suits? I read a thread that I don't have to tell you where it is once I tell you what the replies were like. I read a thread that was like, oh, like AMC or Regal Cinemas have started banning teens in suits from seeing Minions. Okay, so why are they banning them? Because there's some troublemakers that throw bananas at the screen. Okay, you shouldn't be throwing bananas at the screen. Full stop. Top comments in the thread: social media is a cancer. One day they'll analyze TikTok the same way they analyze cigarettes and hard drugs for the effects that it has on the mind. Bro, is 16-year-old boys wearing suits to the Minions movie? How fucking old are you, idiot? Shut up. We got real problems going on in society. Is a child wearing a suit to see a children's movie in the theater, and you're like, ugh, I hate society. Where do you find out what adults are doing, dipshit? It's literally meaningless. Like, it should have no impact on your life whatsoever. It's not like you were doing better shit when you were 16. Don't be ridiculous. I was 16 there with you. People were like, you know, putting lighter fluid inside of a cantaloupe, lighting up a little wick, and then hitting it with a baseball bat. People were just burning the seats on the school bus for absolutely no reason. That's Pog, though. I'm just saying. I 100%. I think if I was like 16 in 2022, I would be going to see Minions in a suit. That just seems like my unique brand of humor. It's kind of wholesome, honestly. As long as you're not throwing a banana at the screen. If you're just going to the theater in a suit, if the joke is just that you're seeing a movie that is not worth this level of formality, and then you go see it with a bunch of other people wearing suits, and you cheer and you applaud uproariously at the end, and then otherwise you're not that disruptive, then live your life, man. That sounds funny as hell to me. I did also, you know, I was on baby sleep duty last night, so I was reading a little bit of shit mom groups say. There's a post that got me laughing pretty good that was like, hey, just so other moms know, in the new Minions movie, The Rise of Gru, one of the villains appears to be a Catholic nun, just in case that's the sort of thing that would bother you. And I was like, thanks, good looking out. Appreciate it. Can't escape from the damn leftist Hollywood agenda, man. One of the villains in the new Minions movie appears to be a nun. She did not say is a nun. So I don't know if it's like Gru in the nun costume trying to fit in or something like that, but she has the appearance of a nun, just in case that's the sort of thing that you don't want to expose your child to. There was another post that it made me, dare I say it, it made me cringe a little bit, but this mom was like, huh, found these in my son's closet. He appears to have a serious case of amnesia when I ask him what they are. Does anyone know what this is? I'm very curious. And then it was just a picture of like 10 different shoe lifts in order to make you appear to be taller when you're wearing shoes. And I was just like, oh man, that had to be like a really traumatic moment for the kid when the mom pulled out his Ziploc bag full of shoe lifts and was like, excuse me, what the fuck is this? She probably thought it was like gang paraphernalia or something like that. He was just like, Mom, I'm just sensitive about my height. That's disappointing. That's a scary, well, not it's just a sad thought. Holy cow, honey, that we kept all the good items at the bottom just as a joke. She probably thought you used them to roll joints. Dude, it actually made me like, I was very appreciative of the relative sanity in my life growing up. There were other people in the thread that commented like some of the most insane things I've ever seen in my life. Like, for example, one person was like, my mom was like this. When I was 6 years old, I came home from school and I had a straw, and she asked me, is that straw for doing cocaine? To a 6-year-old? That, like, in the first grade? How's a first grader gonna get cocaine, man? Is that stuff, like, really expensive? I don't think they're just giving it out, like... Well, in Vancouver, maybe. I don't know. We'll see how this next municipal election goes. Am I right? Oh, man. Also, like, I love the idea that, like, if your kid has a straw, the number one thing is, like, let me guess, cocaine. I'm such an idiot as a parent that I would probably be like, let me guess, you consumed some kind of beverage with this thing. Let me guess, you shoved this piece of beverage paraphernalia into like a cup and then sucked on one end of it until the soda ended up going into your mouth and then you drank it. But I guess there's some astute parents out there that are like, let me guess, cocaine straw. I don't even think you use a straw for cocaine. Don't you use like a rolled up $20 bill or something like that on a glass table in Paul Simon's apartment? It's got to be 100. I don't know, man. I'm not familiar with this part of the ecosystem. You can call me Al? Oh, you can call me Al. Just don't call me late for dinner. In a movie, I've never seen someone use like a McDonald's straw to take cocaine. Holy cow. That would be actually very humorous. Now that, you know what? It would probably save your back some work because you wouldn't have to lean down so far. I think you'd have to generate like quite an inhalation, though, in order to get it up the length of the damn thing. Holy cow. Let me guess, cocaine straw. Hey, you're live, by the way? I obviously have never done cocaine. I'm going to get banned for making a joke about how funny it would be to see someone do it out of, like, one of those crazy straws with all the loop-the-loops in it. This is not a joke. I was at a party once, and, you know, we had probably consumed enough beers to be very, very unhealthy. So I'm not making this argument from a health standpoint. But we were at a party once, and there were some friends of a friend there, which is always how, like, at a college party, like, that's how you get introduced to things that are outside of your comfort level. And I remember we'd been talking to these guys for like a couple hours, and they were like, hey, we're going to go do yayo in the bathroom. You want to come? And I was like, no, thank you. And then they went into the bathroom, presumably to do yayo, which I later looked up online, found out is a slang for cocaine. They went into the bathroom to do whatever their plan was, I guess, and I just left. I know it was like a mom get me out of here, like they're doing yayo in the bathroom sort of moment, but I was like, I'm gone. I'm removing myself from the situation. It was not even the yayo necessarily, but it was mostly, I would say, the fact that I was like, we clearly are like a different, like the friends of a friends that came over. I prefer when people invited like friends of a friend. And they were like, yeah, I have like a few Mike's Hard Lemonades now and then. And we're like, well, check it out. You know, this game's called Edward 40 Hands. Like, I prefer to be the degenerate in the situation. When the friends of a friends come over and they're like, hey, do you want to do some drugs that you only see in the movies? I'm like, I gotta get out of here. I'm scared as hell, man. Okay, somehow this run worked. You ever go to like a college party and somebody brings somebody in their 40s? That's how you know you should leave as well. Any 40-year-old that would come to a college party is not to be trusted. Not just for like Monka-S reasons, but they are going to show up with drugs that old people do at a young person party. This is a recipe for disaster. We had a housemate who grew up in the hometown that I went to university with. She invited her friend from high school who was like 20. And then she was like, hey, this is my neighbor who was like fucking 47 years old. Is it cool if he comes? And I'm like, well, he's already at like the fucking door. So what am I going to say? Like, no? Anyway, that was not a great night. It was just weird. He was probably 32. Dude, he had Thanos wrinkles, man. Okay. We won. Let's do another Isaac run. We're kind of on a wave right now. He looked like Josh Brolin. You're going to tell me he was 32 years old? It's madness. He did not have the Infinity Gauntlet, but he did have many Ziploc bags full of things that I was not comfortable having inside of my house. It was not Josh Brolin, okay? This was not Los Angeles. Shoe lives. He was like, you guys want some of these? I got 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 7 inch.